Hi everyone, my name is Tommy Lang and this is my submission for the FNH 200 Food Ingredient Substitution Project. For this project, I reformulated hot chocolate by replacing dairy milk with oat milk to create a dairy-free alternative. Traditional hot chocolate is made with milk, cocoa powder, chocolate chips, and sugar. Among these ingredients, milk plays a significant role in determining the final texture and sensory experience. Milk provides fat and proteins that contribute to creaminess and help stabilize the mixture. It also contains lactose, which adds mild sweetness and balanced cocoa bitterness. The objective of this project was to replace dairy milk with oat milk and evaluate how this substitution affects the physical and sensory properties of hot chocolate. I chose oat milk because it is lactose-free and suitable for individuals with lactose intolerance. It is also plant-based and has a lower environmental impact compared to dairy production. In addition, oat milk differs significantly from dairy milk in its protein and fat composition. These compositional differences are expected to influence textures and emulsion stability. Therefore, I predict that oat milk version would have reduced creaminess, a slight different sweetness perception due to oat sugars, and an altered mouthfeel compared to the dairy version. To evaluate the effects of milk substitution, I prepared 2 hot chocolate samples, one using dairy milk as the control and one using oat milk as the alternative. First, I added cocoa powder and chocolate chips into each milk samples and stirred to disperse the cocoa solids evenly. The mixtures were then heated in the microwaves for the same amount of time. After heating, sugar was added to both samples and stirred until fully dissolved. All ingredient quantities and heating conditions were kept constant, so that the milk type was the only variables being changed. I conducted a blind taste comparison with the help of a friend, and I would like to thank him for participating in this evaluation. He preferred not to show his face, so his face has been mosaic in the result photo to respect his privacy. Visually, the dairy milk sample appeared lighter and more cloudy, while the oat milk sample appeared slightly darker. And in terms of texture, the dairy version felt creamier and richer, whereas the oat milk version has a lighter mouthfeel. Although both samples contained the same amount of added sugar, the oat milk version was perceived as sweeter. The dairy version, however, had a more balanced overall flavor. The differences observed can be explained by the chemical and physical properties of milk. Dairy milk contains casein proteins and higher level of saturated fats, which contributes to creaminess and a richer mouthfeel. Oat milk contains lower protein levels and a different fat composition, resulting in a lighter texture. The lighter appearance of dairy milk is due to light scattering from proteins and fat droplets, while the lower protein content in oat milk leads to a darker appearance. Additionally, oat milk contains natural sugars such as maltose, and its lower fat contents may allow sweetness to be perceived more strongly. One limitation of this experiment is that the ingredient quantities, including milk, cocoa powder, chocolate chips, and sugar, were not measured using precise equipment. Small variations in volume or mass may have influenced the results. Additionally, different containers were used, which may have affected visual perception. Finally, only one participant was involved in the taste test, so the results may not fully represent broader consumer preferences. The differences observed in this experiment are consistent with other milk-based beverages, such as oat milk lattes. In those beverages, lower protein content reduces foam stability and results in a lighter mouthfeel. Similarly, reduced fat content affects creaminess and flavor perception. This suggests that substituting dairy milk with oat milk leads to consistent structural and sensory changes across similar beverage systems. In conclusion, oat milk successfully replaced dairy milk in hot chocolate and produced a dairy-free alternative. However, noticeable differences were observed in appearance, texture, and sweetness. This project demonstrates that milk plays an important functional role in food system by contributing to creaminess, light scattering, and flavor perception, not just volume. In the future, using a higher fat oat milk or adjusting the formulation could help improve creaminess and better mimic the original dairy version.